Hey, experts listeners. I want to key you into something that we do very special here at Ops Experts Club, and that's a masterclass. We have a free masterclass called Foundations That Scale. And the great thing about this masterclass is it's for operation professionals who are growing businesses. One of the most dangerous things you can do as an operator is grow businesses on a foundations that's not stable. So in this particular masterclass, we take apart all of the inside pieces of your team, your tech, and how they're using time. And we make sure that you're building on a foundation that's stable. So if you want to check out a great masterclass completely for free, go to foundationsthatscale.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome to the Ops Experts Club with Aaron, Terryn, and Savannah. This podcast will take you behind the scenes of some of the finer details of multi-million-dollar companies. These ops experts have dealt with operations for scaling companies and well-established businesses with anywhere from small to large teams. If you've ever been deep into the details of a major company, then you know how much it takes, and these conversations are just for you. Welcome to the Ops Experts Club podcast.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Doing just grand on this fine Thursday morning. Yep, Thursday. I was going to say Wednesday, but I was like, that's not right.
Nope. Nope. Ops Experts Club on Thursday mornings. Welcome, everybody. Well, we're here today to talk about cool tools.
Tools.
And so we're going to be talking about calendar options. It's one of those things that may seem kind of boring, but we all have to use them all the time. And it's easy to just I think most people probably use Calendly. And it's easy to just you hear about one and you just go with it, and then you
Yep.
kind of with it because it just does what you need it to do, and it does what you need it to do. But so we want to just kind of explore what the options are and see what other people are doing in case it might be worth looking into switching. Ben, do you want to
Do it.
lead off with Calendly, since that's
Yeah.
our kind of our bestie?
Our bestie, for sure. I mean, I personally also use Calendly. The reason I liked it is it was just really straightforward to set up. Like, it doesn't require a lot of knowledge in setting up a calendar. Full disclosure, until about a year ago, I didn't even use one. I was one of those people who was just going back and forth in email saying, are you available this time? Are you available this time? Are you available this time? You're not? Okay. How about this time? Just the 5 emails where you go back and forth on when each other is available for a meeting. And finally, at one point, I was like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous. I should probably get a calendar. And it was
Fun
just
recognizing that point, because that means you're in high enough demand. Realize you're man, I'm legit enough that I need a calendar with
I
my
should probably
availability.
get some sort of calendar. Yeah, right. And it was more of it was something that I just kept putting off because I was like, I don't need it. I don't need it. Constantly trying to downplay whether I need something. And finally I was like, I'm spending so much time and probably annoying people, emailing back and forth, trying to figure out a time to just have a 30-minute meeting. I was like, this would be so much easier. So I bit the bullet, and it was incredibly easy to set up. I'm just on a free plan. And I would say with Calendly, most people who use it would probably stick with a free plan unless you're having to schedule out multiple meetings with just I wouldn't say cold call meetings, but meetings that you have to depend on a third party they don't work with. Like, for example, our internal team, we just create a calendar invite, link our Zoom, and then invite people to calendar, and everybody is usually pretty on board. But if I have to, meet with a potential client that I have never met with before, it's easier to send them this link to then, schedule a time with me. And for myself, that's a free Calendly is about all I need. You can create a meeting, a 30-minute meeting, a 60-minute meeting, whatever it is. You've got a booking page that you can email them a link to. It's pretty simple. It ties in directly to your calendar, whichever calendar that is. I believe you can also embed this under the free plan. Don't quote me on that though. And you can, of course, schedule out events. You can add workflows in the paid version. But for me, it's real simple. You just drop this link in and people can schedule with you, and it does exactly what you want. It just pulls from your Google Calendar or your Microsoft Calendar, whatever it is, adds the busy time, adds in your Zoom link, and you're good to go. So very straightforward. That's why I think it's probably one of the more popular ones. Once you start beefing up into, say, the paid versions, that's where you start getting a lot more features. And that's really where I think it shines for a team, maybe a sales team, something you're going to do with if you're doing sales calls, you want some sort of round robin stuff. The paid versions really shine here. When it comes to the tiers they have, they're actually priced pretty well. If you're just using this for yourself and you want, say, unlimited event types, because under the free version, you only get one event type. You get, you set what that is, but it's only one 30-minute meeting or just, one 60-minute meeting. I can't say have an additional phone call event or an additional group meeting event where multiple people can join. This is just a one-on-one meeting. I could create those separately if I delete this, but I can only have one at a time. So with the paid version, which is $8 a month, which is not bad at all, you can add in unlimited event types. You can add multiple calendars. So say if you want one event that goes to your Google Calendar and one event that goes to your Microsoft Calendar, whatever it may be, you get that at $8 a month. Reminders and workflows is great too. Really, the professional version is what I would see people who are having to aggressively use their calendar and scheduling. That's where this would really come in. And that's where you get stuff like forms. So say you're an online entrepreneur and you have a book a call page and you want to filter people out with a form, you get that at $12 a month. You get multiple events, collective events, which is nice because you can have somebody else on your team join as a host for you with their Calendly account. Also nice. So definitely a lot more under the $12 a month. Still, I think is pretty well priced compared to some of the other options out there. And you get the integrations, which the integrations for Calendly are pretty wide. I mean, they've integrate with just about everything.
That's cool.
And that's one thing I noticed compared to, like, say, OnceHub. OnceHub has integrations, but you have to pay per integration that you use,
Oh,
which is kind of sucky.
yeah.
Here, it's just built into that $12 a month. So if you're using a lot of different workflows and integrations and you're going to, calendars, you're using Zapier, you're going into your CRM, you're going to, say, Salesforce, something like that. This is, I think, kind of the go-getter right there. And then, of course, for teams, that's when you can start setting up round robin events for like sales teams. Again, these are all per seat per month. So if you've got a sales team of 10 people, that's going to be, $160 a month for each of those people that be in your round robin. So that's also something to think about. But I like it. It's easy to use and it's easy to set up.
Yeah, I use the free version and I set it up in like 10 minutes because it was the same thing where I was just like, oh shoot, I need
Yeah.
to like my schedule's getting complicated and I need to be able to like let people choose based on my availability so we don't do this dance for 10 years on when who's available. But yeah, I just use a free version and like sometimes I feel limited by the one meeting type thing. Like I just keep it at a half hour and I try to like have a couple that I would switch back and forth with and it just is just too much to try and remember. I forget to switch it back and then I'd have someone set up the wrong kind of meeting or something and it just but I did have a question on so it integrates with the CRM. Do they allow you to take payments like within the
Yes, they do have PayPal, and they had PayPal, Stripe, and let's see what else they have. I think those were the two main ones. Payments, yes, yeah, PayPal and Stripe.
Cool. That's a nice I'm gonna touch on that a little bit on a couple that I'm about to talk about, and I just thought it was a cool feature that I never really thought about with scheduling because I really just use it for the bare bones, which I do love Calendly for.
Well, and I mean, I could see it as like, most of our people, they do free book calls, but if you want people to pay to book a call, that's where your payment, the integration will come in nice. $30 to book a call with me. You can pay through Stripe or PayPal.
Yep. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Koalendly, which is, I think, pretty similar to Calendly. I was very excited to jump into this one because their logo is a koala and it's just a really cute. But I was a little bit disappointed in their free version. Let's jump in. So it integrates with all of your calendars like you would expect, but it integrates with Zoom. And I think that it gave me the option, I think when I was first looking at it, that it could work with Google. Yeah, and with Microsoft, but it's not maybe not. Like I said, I was really not super impressed with go to the new booking page so I can show you. So, pretty basic, like this looks pretty similar to Calendly,
Mhm.
choosing what kind of meeting you want to have. Same thing, you're limited to one meeting. You can change what the title of it is. For meeting location, So here's what you can choose what meeting location you want it to be. You can choose Google Meet and you can change it to other things. However, this little star here next to Zoom and Microsoft Teams, which I would argue are the most common ones, you have to pay for it. And from what I can tell, they're really basic. So it's basically like you're free or you're $6.99 a month. So not crazy expensive, but when you already get that function on Calendly for free,
Yeah. Interesting.
and then there was just a lot that's behind a paywall that I was kind of surprised by. So on Calendly, you can choose specific dates that you're like out of town if you want it to be, unavailable. That's in the free version. This one it's not. Similar to Calendly, you can add your schedule in to customize which days you're available at what times. You can add little break times if you want, and then same thing, you can choose which type of meeting, like what length you want it to be available for, the amount of hours that they get a notification. But here's the other part that really irked me. Side note, something that I do like about it is that you can choose what calendars you want it to all sync up with. So like I have a couple other business things going on. And so if I want it to be looking at what I have going on otherwise, it can check conflicts in my other calendars. So that's cool. But down on invitee questions, something else that Calendly does for free that Calendly does not is you can specify like more clarifying questions in your form so that it's not just a first name and last name. You can ask what they want to talk to you about, where they're from, like what
Mhm.
business they're coming at. So you're not just going in blind like a cold call. And for this on the free version, you just get their their name and their email. So to me, I would hate that if someone found my link in my like linked in my email or something, and I just have a meeting scheduled with Bob Jones, and like I don't know Bob, I don't know what that is. And so for Koalendar, I could see it working still if you just need a really basic calendar that you're like handing out your link to, but I would only feel comfortable handing that out to somebody that I'm specifically talking
Yeah.
to.
Email confirmations too? Yep, that's paid? Wow.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they're trying to push you in the paid version and being like, "But we're $2 cheaper than everybody else in our paid version."
Yeah, it's like they almost just probably shouldn't even have a free. I feel like when Calendly already exists, I don't really understand why these guys even have a free version.
Yeah, that's not really competitive at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could try Pro for free, and you see the things that I would get. I don't know how long their trial is. I should check that out while we're here. But one thing that Calendly was set up with that was nice is that you can set up. Now, where is it? You can set up to have it take payments. You can choose same thing like what you want your call to be set at.
Yeah.
But it looks like they only integrate with Stripe. So if you're not using Stripe, then that still
Hmm.
doesn't really help you out. So, it really is, and then so I'm, like, looking through the website trying to see if I'm, like, missing something, like, there's gotta be more stuff that they have that I'm just not seeing because I'm in the free version, and, like, I just don't even see
Hmm.
help widget. I just don't see anything really super cool, unfortunately. I was
Interesting.
I was really bummed out. They got me with the logo and then just kinda
Yeah, I guess if you just really care about a koala bear branding, then that's your platform, but it's not very competitive at all, it seems like. Seems like they're
yeah.
trying to not be competitive.
Yeah, like I don't quite understand who they're for. They are a business that's existing. They came up pretty high on our Google search when we were looking for things to feature. So there's got to be people that are using it. But,
Well, hopefully this dissuades them from using it further.
just I feel like this is the first like cool tool that we've shared where I'm like, "You know what? This tool isn't that cool." Like I would not recommend this one because we all know what Calendly is capable of,
Mhm.
and
Although I do think it's good to at least talk about these so that you don't so if you're going into joining it, you know what you're looking for. Like if it doesn't have this, this, and this, then I'm just gonna breeze by it. That's I mean, that's at least good to know what not to sign up for.
yeah. Well, and because it did appear pretty high in our Google search, and because there's people probably like me that are like, "That one has a purple koala on it, and well, I'm gonna sign up for that one." And then you're gonna sign up, and then you're gonna get roped into paying $6.99, and you're gonna be disappointed. So,
Mhm.
we're here for you, and we're here to tell you don't do that. So, the last one that I'm gonna talk to you guys about is the one that's most robust. And I know the Aaron team uses this one, and actually looking over their free version, like I'm kind of leaning towards wanting to switch to this one. So we're going to talk about OnceHub, formerly known as ScheduleOnce. So they have a free plan, and their free plan actually looks like it has a lot. I did just sign up for the trial so I can play with it, but their growth isn't super expensive either, $10 per user per month. And so obviously scheduled meetings, live engagements, like the same stuff that you get on Calendly, like normal integration. But on their free version, you also get a workflow builder, which I feel like you don't get on
You
Calendly.
don't.
And
I think it's very limited in Calendly. You can have like a workflow.
yeah, yeah, because they just kind of leave you to like one option for all the things on the free
Mhm.
version. And then on the publishing options, I'm kind of interested in that too, to see like having a pop-up could be really neat. I know that some websites, even if you have a free pop-up on like this service, your website that you use might still charge you extra to like have that functionality in your website.
Mhm.
So you'll have to check that out. But for growth, for only $10 a month, unlimited users, booking pages and history, form submission redirects. So that's like when someone, and I'm sure this is in Calendly too, but it's just cool to note that it's only $10 a month. And that's like when the person clicks submit, it like will take you to back to your website. And it's like,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I personally, like, when I set something up with someone, I have just, like, more trust in who I'm setting something up with, if that's and then similar to Calendly, you get CRM integrations, Zapier integration, you can set up API, and then you also have help desk support. So that was another thing that is, like, a silly thing to be excited about, but I am very excited about. They have a blog, and their blog is all, like, help stuff and, like, business advice, and it's not even just I mean, it's obviously most geared toward, like, OnceHub users, but I feel like anyone who's using any kind of scheduler and scheduling meetings could probably benefit from it.
Hmm.
Just oncehub.com/blog, and they have, like, a ton of just helpful articles on, like, scheduling things successfully, like, setting up meetings that are better for your clients and for your team. So I appreciate their 24/7 support options. Like, they just seem
Yeah.
like they're pretty good about, like, being on it to help their people do their best. Enterprise, of course, they don't tell us what the pricing is, so I'm sure it's a little bit scary.
Yep.
But you can single sign on, custom security process policies. So that was another thing that I noticed about these guys that was slightly different and kind of made me think of like when we looked up the forms tools and different ones had different higher security options that are even for
Yep.
like healthcare geared and that kind of thing. It seems like these guys, they have a whole section on their website that's just on like security, like on their security
Mhm.
practices. So they might be more geared toward people who are scheduling like doctor's appointments or,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Any sort of like HIPAA. Oh yeah, it says right there, HIPAA compliance. Yep.
So that's kinda cool if your company is just really like, if you're dealing with really confidential information and you wanna have that extra level of security because no matter who you sign up with, no matter who you trust, like, everybody has data breaches. So just something to keep in mind, if that's really important to you, maybe it's worth it to pay more to be with someone who, like, really focuses on their security. And then that one, you actually get, like, a dedicated person that you get to reach out to if you're having problems. So something else that was cool, their availability, I feel like their availability setup is way more user-friendly than any of
Yeah.
the other ones where you're having to, like, click it and, like, this is just really easy to get started. And then interesting. I'm not on mobile. Why does it think I'm on mobile? Oh, maybe because I'm screen sharing. Weird. So when I was setting up the booking page, it asked me, like, what kind of forms I wanna create, and they even have bots. You can choose if you wanna just have, like, a static form or if you want to, like, vet people before they get further in your form before they can schedule a call with you. And then once you choose that you want to vet the customers, they actually have the option that there's, like, a bot set up that, like, you can have a little bot asking your clarifying questions and, like, feed it
Huh.
context and stuff. And so it can decide if it wants to move forward, or you can set up something more manually that's obviously just like a do you make over 25K?
Yeah.
Yes, no, and then move on that way. So I like that too, that I didn't see
Interesting.
in the other ones. It's just like you're available or you're not available. This one's like right from the get-go without even creating pipelines, you have a lot of control over like who's making calls with you.
Huh. Interesting.
So maybe big for my britches, but I could see this for like sales teams and stuff,
Yep.
just, even at their kind of basic levels, really being the good option.
I will say the one asterisk I know from being in OnceHub is that their pricing says unlimited users, but that's just like basically people who can be inside the account. If you want those users to be assigned to a booking page, that's an additional $10 a month. So it's kind of sneaky in that sense. because I've tried to set up, a booking page inside, say Aaron's, and add myself. It's like, this user doesn't have a license. You must pay for an additional license. So that's something to keep in mind. Calendly, I think, is a little more straightforward, and you're still gonna same with Calendly. Like, you're still gonna pay that additional. It's just, I think some people could join OnceHub and be like, wait a minute, I thought this was unlimited. Yeah, you can have unlimited email addresses in your account, but those email addresses can't book people unless you pay for it.
Yeah, so, like, why do you want like, you can have unlimited assistants that can view your schedule? That's interesting.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, it's still reasonable compared to Calendly, because Calendly does the exact same thing. But it does seem like OneSub is quite a bit more robust, and it is a lot easier to like change your availability on the fly for an individual day or even hour. Like, I've done that inside OneSub too, where it's like, I can't be available from like 3:15 to 4:15 every other Thursday. And it's really easy. It's just like beep, 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 and it's done.
That's
So
nice.
I like
That
it.
has driven me a little bit crazy with Calendly trying to set up, like, my kids have a new sport or something that they're playing, and I have to remember to go put that in the Calendly so that no one books that time. And yeah, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to customize, but yeah, it'll be interesting to play. Because like I said, I use Calendly all the time, and so I kind of want to try the free OnceHub and then seeing like what I might like better and see how I can integrate. Because ideally, the ideal would be to find something that's on the free version or the like, the lowest tier, and then find something that can cover several use cases so
Yeah.
that you're not just stuck with one thing all the time. So,
Yep. I agree.
well, thank you, Ben, for joining me today to talk about some cool tools. I feel
Pleasure to be here.
I feel like we learned some good stuff, and most importantly, we learned something not to use. I feel like we had our ops experts first, where we said, no, don't go for this.
Don't do this thing.
Just let it hang in its tree and just don't go for it.
That's great.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you next Thursday with another awesome guest that we'll be interviewing. And until then, reach out to us in Facebook or anything. We're here for you and hope to see you then.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ops Experts Club podcast. New episodes available every week on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. If you're curious about how some of the biggest names in entrepreneurship have scaled their businesses to the next level, check out some of our best content on this topic by going to foundationsthatscale.com. You can find the link in our bio and do your part to improve as an ops expert.